Alright, I guess I suppose I could able to actually just go ahead and, might as well able to get 2 or more than that. I think I probably should go for 2 then. But if not, then I might be alright if I manage to able to run lower. There we go. So that way I can get something out of it at least. So, but even then, that's not much else to talk about, so... I mean, wow. I just cannot believe I just lost by 1 singular cookie from that last minigame that we played. At least as far as the new ones are concerned. But oh well though. Let's just get into another discussion by the forms of Nintendo Direct yesterday. Is the fact that recently we've got ourselves another set of updates of the forms of Mario Tennis Aces. I know it's been a long while since I actually managed to play this game whenever it's day 1, so even then, the fact of the matter is that it's about time to able to actually discuss upon more stuff on Mario Tennis Aces, such as new playable characters being added. Like, we've already noticed about the fact that, Diddy Kong is already being arrived due to the actual online services and stuff like that, and especially noticeable with the forms of, like, let's just say, by the forms of Bodo and Paratrooper. But it turns out that we've actually got ourselves 2 more playable characters, which are essentially the returning playable characters ever since in Mario Power Tennis, which are both Shy Guy, which I was really very glad that he's going to come back, and especially noticeable for PD Piranha, which I'm also very grateful. Now, what makes it very weird is the fact that if you ever played the story mode portion of Mario Tennis Aces, that PD Piranha was meant to be a boss battle event, but turns out that he wasn't for the actual, like, expedition matches or something like that, which is kind of weird though, kind of thing about it though, but hey, at least it's something out of it. Okay, we have a new minigame here, so it appears to be we're actually traversing for this factory facility, so Crazy Conveyor. Jump over the scrap heaps to avoid being scrapped. The last player standing wins. So, basically we need to avoid getting crushed by the forms of that particular conveyor right there. So I'm hoping I can able to win this though. But sometimes what will meant though is the fact that I've already mentioned about this before, is that the jumping physics on this game cannot be very perfect, I will admit though right away, because rarely do I ever able to actually just try to able to jump as high as I can possibly can, but then sometimes I'll get screwed over with other kinds of players and stuff, which even then, well, you can able to actually jump onto everyone else's heads if you wanted to, but most of the time you might able to not go any further beyond from that, so... Of course, there goes Roger and especially Clyde, but the only player I need to... Dang it! I know that's gonna happen. I just freaking know it. Don't you taunt me. It's not going well so far for this particular middle portion of the board. But I'm really hoping I can able to actually just make a comeback or something. But if not, I would be able to be kind of a damn star. Because even then though, since I've lost quite a few castles at this rate, that way I would able to actually just manage to let Pinky to able to actually just start to catch up a little bit. Which, a little bit though, is not a good sign for me though. She might be a little bit... She kind of reminds me of the forms of, like, Princess Peach from the Mario Party series sometimes, because sometimes female characters always attempt to be very, very lucky at some scenarios, but I'm not so sure about that one, though. But even then, we'll just see what happens there. So, go for 8. So, there goes number 8. So, yeah, I'm very pleased about the fact that those 2 playable characters now added into the forms of the Mario Tennis Aces game at long last, after, well, let's just say for about 14 years ago, or 13 years ago for the UK version. So I'm very grateful that those 2 playable characters made their debut once again, since the GameCube installment. So... And also, they did actually revealed there's going to be some co-op challenges in the forms of Mario Tennis Aces as well, which I was very grateful about that, because even then, the only thing I might as well be skeptical about is the fact that, well, we'll explain more details onto that as soon as we're able to discuss quite a few bits left. So even then, because of that though, oh no, I landed on this particular tent. Please don't tell me I have to bring up something to like, of course. Of course, I always have to lose cookies, and thanks to that, I might as well able to be left behind completely. So screw you for that point. Anyway though, I guess there's not much else to say, other than there's also another few new ideas, or in this case new updates, by the forms of Mario Tennis Aces. Speaking of which, is the fact that they show us by the forms of new alternate costumes, or in this case color palettes for some of these characters makes their debut, much like in the forms of well, just like in the forms of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch, by like, you know, some of these color palettes. I think it's gonna give these color palettes to both, let's just say, Shy Guy and Yoshi most of the time. So, I'm not sure about any other characters though, like the forms of like Koopa Troopa or Paratroopa, but I guess we'll just have to find out until the update is not going to be that as long as far as you will go. I believe that the version 2 is going to be up until like the 19th of September, which is about 5 days before that particular update is about to be happening. So, at least I'm quite surprised about this. So, yeah, and unfortunately I've lost my crown due to that stupid random event, or in this case the most unfortunate space. Sometimes these little particular misfortune turns can be very, very, it kind of reminds me like a bad, unlucky spaces from Mario Party 9 and Mario Party 10 because of how the fact that you can able to lose some potentials. So, that's not a good sign for me. So, of course there might be still some more content along the way in the Mario Tennis Aces games, for sure. So anyways though, I think that's all I can say about it. So, next up that they actually did release is the forms of like, they're making another new Super Mario Bros. Game. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, nothing too different or anything, it's just more likely this exact same game as the Wii U version, but the noticeable difference is, well, first of all, actually, let's get into the actual name of the actual new Super Mario Bros. Game. It calls it New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Oh man, how many Wii U games is now ported onto the Nintendo Switch? I mean, the first one is obvious, is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and another one is Donkey Kong Country Returns, no, not Donkey Kong Country Returns, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Pokken Tournament, and also Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, Rayman Legends, and what else is on here? Oh yes, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, and I think that's it at the moment. But actually, I'll get into more details onto that because we have a new minigame here. This minigame almost reminds me of Hard Rope Jump from Mario Party 1 and 2, and Heat Stroke from Mario Party 5, where we have Frantic Furnace. Time your jumps to avoid being swiped into the fuse, or fumus. Flap to stay in the air longer. The last player standing wins. So, yeah, once again, it's, well, you know, last man's survival wins syndrome once again, so. But I've noticed the noticeable differences this time around, though, is the fact that there is no 1 versus 3 types of minigames this time around, though. So it's basically we need to able to do like, well, kind of like how it does in the forms of Hard Rope Jump from, you know, both Mario Party 1 and 2, except, well, the noticeable differences there is the fact that, well, we need to able to jump at the right time before the hammers usually just began to swing. So, yeah, that's the only major differences here. So, yeah, I guess, you know, not much else to tell from that particular title I was on about, the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. It's pretty much the exact same game as the Wii U version, but there are some differences. I will give them some credit for that. Sure, it's a bit of a rehash game here and there, but I'm pretty sure that because of that, though, the original Wii U version of New Super Mario Bros. U was almost 6 years old at this point, so why spending our time by the forms of like, let's just say, every single 3 years, they always about to be revealing every kind of new Super Mario Bros. Game, like, New Super Mario Bros. DS, they mostly came out in 2006, and then in 3 years later, they released New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and then another 3 years later, they received not only New Super Mario Bros. 2, but also New Super Mario Bros. U on the exact same year in 2012, and, now, during the likes of, well, about a year later, they revealed New Super Luigi U, which is basically the exact same thing as New Super Mario Bros. U, except shorter levels and shorter time limit. And now, in 6 years later, New Super Mario Bros. U is going to make a comeback again for the 4th time in a row, ever since, well, I'm going to be counting, well, usually I'm going to count Super Mario Maker, because it does have different skins of, different Mario's previous past entries for the actual level themes and stuff. But even then, no, that's as far as I can say. Anyways, we have a donuts minigame. We pretty much already know about this minigame, obviously, because we can just create some more donuts and that's about it. In fact, Clyde did manage to able to win that, so my power cookie is now being ranked up to 3. So, now let's move on to Battle 3. I'm hoping I can able to defend this, though. But if not, then I can able to actually lose my castles again. So, I'm hoping that won't happen this time. Oh, this is a new one. I think this is actually a pretty cool minigame, though, I will admit, though. So let's see what this new minigame is all about. It's involved barbecue, so that's one extent thing. Food Javelin Cookout. Throw skewers at the flying food to land them on the grill. Skewering meat gives the most points. The player with the highest score wins. Sorry for a little bit of attention right there. But all you have to do that, you remember the forms of the actual micro games from the WarioWare Smooth Moves game? That one of those formations you can able to hold the Wii remote is the forms of Sketch Artist. This main game does remind me of any kind of sketching artist micro games, except we can able to actually deal with like just tossing the actual skewers into the actual barbecue and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty fun mini game. I'm pretty sure if you're able to use the power cookie, as you saw that I managed to use one of them, you can actually just manage to toss like I would say 3 skewers all in one throw. I think that's the only way you can able to use the power cookie from that one. So yeah, not that bad on that one, but kind of a good one here and there as well. So yeah. So yeah, it's pretty insane, but in forms of like revealing. I've heard from the past few weeks they did manage to say about the rumors about the making new Super Mario Bros. U coming to on the Nintendo Switch, and it turns out, during yesterday, the rumors were true, and I was like, really? Okay, I guess I'll explain more on that later. But now we have another new minigame for once. But this time we have is sheep shearing. Shave as many sheep as you can. Larger sheep are worth more points. The player with the highest score wins. So, pointers by usually just move as shearers and press A and B together to able to actually just to trim the actual wool. So, yeah, that's very self-explanatory right there. But even then, you can able to actually mash A and B buttons throughout the majority of the that particular minigame, because you can simply just do that other than just a few seconds left. So, yeah, you can just essentially try to do that. You can able to actually win this minigame so easily if you do not use the power cookie like I didn't use one right there. Even though Roger did manage to able to use his though, but that's besides the point. So, anyway though, yay, I managed to win on that one, even though those 3 players managed to get chased off by the forms of most of these sheeps. Was just like a sheep stampede or something? Well, except it's not that threatening or anything, so, because it's obviously just a, well, fun, family-friendly type of game like this. So anyways, let's get back into the discussion about the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which sure is a bizarre name, but even then though, that's, well, it's kind of like the same thing for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but even then though, that, you know, it's basically, it's like a port to new Super Mario Bros. U, except with, well, some interesting features they actually did manage to add things in. Like, well, first of all, you can able to actually just play as, not only do we able to play as the exact same characters as the original New Super Mario Bros. U, and especially with New Super Luigi U, like, you still play as Mario, you still play as Luigi, and you can still play as Yellow Toad, and you might be thinking, what about Blue Toad? Well, you were wrong, because recently, not only did, Nabbit makes a return as playable debuted ever since in New Super Luigi U, and I believe that now that Nabbit can finally play New Super Mario Bros. U levels from Nabbit as far as playable characters are concerned, which, sure, it can be very broken, just like Funky Kong from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Switch version, but even then, I'm probably not going to play as him on that particular New Super Mario Bros. U, because I found the game to be a lot easier if I managed to play that on the Wii U version. So, even then I can able to actually just not to select him for that. So, oh sweet, power cookie. I like the sound of that. And also, Revenant is actually placing Blue Toad on the right, on the spotlight, because instead, Blue Toad is now being replaced as the one and only Toadette. Yeah, because you remember in the forms of Super Mario Run game that he usually has Toadette as a playable character. I'm very grateful, at least I give that version some credit for, that Toadette made her playable debut on a 2D platforming side-scrolling adventure on a console game this time, which I'm always quite grateful about that. Okay, so we have Pac-Pool once again, so usually we've already played this before, so I digress. So, yeah, and also they not only did they actually revealed the way that you can able to actually play as Toadette this time around though, rather than Blue Toad, because I've heard from several people complaining about the fact that those two colored toads from the Wii U version is pretty much exactly identical and plus pretty much the same, except, well, in different colors, and that's nothing too remarkably interesting. And also, they did reveal a new power-up, well, to be more exclusively for Toadette, and that's the forms of the Super Crown. And guess what it transformed into? Well, it turns out it's gonna be Peach-Ette, which, get it, because of Peach and Toadette fused together in the forms of, well, Peach-Ette. Which is bizarre, if you ask me, which, if I saw that coming, I was like, holy crap, I did not expect you can able to play as this oddly version of Peach, although I'll get to more explanations later, because now we have another new minigame. So let's see what we have this time. Oasis or Burst. Break blocks to get to the goal line. Grab fruits for points, but watch out for tornadoes. The player with the highest score wins. So, this minigame's control-wise, it plays almost exactly like Pac-Pool, except you're going to be playing this on a different perspective, mainly the 2D perspective-wise, because even then, that you're going to able to point at this screen at all times, and then once you do so, and you have to hold down the A button until you're able to actually get your shot going, and then you would able to actually just gather as many fruits as you can, and that's all you have to do. Okay, I guess there's another thing I just want to point out right away with the forms of that particular power-up with the forms of Peach-Ette in New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. So you can able to actually perform a double jump, which she terribly stole that from Daisy from not New Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Run application game. And also they did reveal that I believe, if I heard the actual gameplay footages or something like that, I can assume you can actually play as any characters anytime whenever you wanted to in the forms of any kind of levels in New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U simultaneously or something like that. Which, I might be okay with it. Other than that though, it's just another port of the forms of the Wii U game. Because I'm sure enough the Wii U is now pretty much dead, and all in all. But even then, we haven't too much of those Wii U ports at this point. I mean, what's next? The Legend of Zelda, the Wind Waker HD, or Twilight Princess HD, or something like that? Well, I don't know about that. But, other than that though, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, I might be alright with this one, but, I mean, it's not the great choice, I will say this much, although the only highlight I think of is the forms of, like, Toadette has now finally made her playable debuts on the 2D side-scrolling platformer game, and, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, I don't know about you, and, yeah, it's going to be released until, next year, or to be more accurately, early next year, in the forms of the 11th of January in 2019, so expecting so released on the exact same month as both Mario Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey, including Kingdom Hearts 3 for the PlayStation 4, and especially noticeable for Xbox One as well. So, of course, we have this minigame again. Seriously, how many repeated minigames do we have to go through here? Probably a lot. Hey. Okay, so, but hey, I don't think I can able to do a Let's Play of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe because it's pretty much the exact same game as the Wii U version, because I'm pretty sure we've already tackled through both New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U Let's Play for our YouTube channel at this point, so I don't think there's any point we can able to do that game again on, I can still pick it up so that I can able to actually, like, I will admit though right away, out of all the New Super Mario Bros. Games I've ever played, New Super Mario Bros. U might be my second favorite of the New Super Mario Bros. Series. I will say that my least favorite one, it might be still New Super Mario Bros. 2, because it feels way too tapping more easier than the other games in the series. But I will say though, is that New Super Mario Bros. U did top-notch the visuals for quite some time, especially with that 3D dynamic background. And that's all I can think about. But I will admit that I'm really looking forward to able to replaying that game again, but this time on the Nintendo Switch. But even then, the only thing I might be concerned about is the fact that they do have different control methods, just like these other patch updates in the original Wii U version. But even then, we'll find out and see what happens there. So, yeah. And what's next they actually did revealed? Oh yes, let's get into the another main point of the Nintendo Direct yesterday. And that will have to be the forms of the Nintendo Switch Online services. Now, not only because of how the fact that, I know for some people seem to get very, extremely disappointed nowadays, because they're doing the exact same system as far as how it does it in Xbox Live system, and even the PlayStation Network or PlayStation Plus membership or something like that. It sadly requires you to able to pay money, which I'm not terribly fond of, but I just wish I was able to play online experiences in the forms of other Nintendo titles, mainly Mario Tennis Aces and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Luigi's Balloon World for online functionalities in Super Mario Odyssey, and especially noticeable for the forms of like the online modes for the forms of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Super Mario Party, and sadly that's not the case though. Ha, too bad for you, Pinky, you lost your power cookie, so, ha. Guess that should be a payback then, huh? So, I guess I should probably point things out right away before I get into more details about this, Nintendo Switch Online service. I should probably point things out is the fact that the cookies amount in this particular board, as you can tell, that it's nothing to do with me, it's the forms of the game itself. The only little bit amount of cookies you can hold up to is the forms of 20,000 cookies. That I think that's the next goal we're going to be hitting to. But when we get to the next couple of boards later, then I'll show you we can able to actually just go ahead and move on to the, shorter amount of cookies as possible. So, anyways, here's the very good mini game right here. The Great Soda Escape. Swim through balls of jelly to escape the soda, but don't fall off the screen. The first player to stand to the top, or the last man standing wins. So, directional pad is able to actually decide which direction you want to swim, and press 2 to swim up. So, that's all you have to do. So yeah, that's all I can really think about, to be honest, other than then we can just, just swim up, and that's all we have to do here. So, yeah. So, I guess I should probably explain about more details about the Nintendo Switch Online services, is the fact that, not only because of how the fact that, we can able to actually play some online stuff while it's only required for money this time around though, which is a shame because, well, Nintendo doesn't do that in the forms of like Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo Wii U, and especially Nintendo Wii. But now, nowadays, it starts to change a lot, even for as far as future days time, which is kind of disappointing. But on the good side, though, is the fact that you can actually play NES games on the online services, which is very, good. But even then, though, and to make matters even much more convenient, though, is the fact that you can able to actually just to get the Joy-Con themed NES controllers, which is kind of cool looking, but the only missing part is the forms of the analog sticks. I do get it because of how the fact that because the NES doesn't have any joysticks whatsoever. But to be honest, I'm probably not gonna get the Joy-Con NES type of controls, honestly, because, well, funny story actually, because I recently managed to well, we'll discuss more into that as soon as we get to next month or at some point or another, which we're not gonna spoil for anything just yet, but I digress. So, anyways though, next thing they did show off is the forms of the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee editions, and it turns out they show us pretty much the exact same things as we expected from the past. And also, they did show us the forms of the new console bundle with the forms of the Pikachu and Eevee editions, which looks pretty cool looking, especially with the forms of that particular color schemes, but the forms of the Joy-Cons, like the forms of like that brown color, and especially with that bright, darker yellow color, which I do like, because that represents the forms of the main two Pokemons they mainly focus on in the forms of Pokemon Let's Go series on the Nintendo Switch. So, that's pretty cool all in all, but even then I might actually get that game, so I think I should probably get Let's Go Pikachu, just for the sake of like, hopefully I can get some of my experiences of Pokemon games again. So, but even then we'll get into that. Next thing they did show us is the forms of, well, some more information of Super Mario Party. And they did show us the forms of, not only the forms of another new mode that we actually did manage to undiscover yet, and that's the forms of, well, let's just say, stand stage, or in this case, sound stage, or something like that. I'm not sure what that mode is actually properly known for, but it looks to be kind of like a cool mode, because it's like a rhythm type of mode, very similar to the likes of one of those rhythm modes you can get in Mario Party Star Rush, but except the fact that it's all in Joy-Cons instead of like you can still press buttons if you wanted to, but it's more likely a rhythm based mode, even for the actual Joy-Cons usage. So that's very cool all in all with that particular mode even. Sorry for a little bit of a tangent right there again. And beyond that, we also got ourselves another mode in the forms of Super Mario Party, which we have the single-player campaign, which is kind of odd, because even then, at first glance, in the forms of the past few months, that at first I thought we don't have the forms of the single-player modes at all, but it turns out we do have one, so even then I will get some more details onto that, because we have another new minigame. Candy Bandits. Eat the floating candy for points. Be careful as candy will turn into scary pumpkins at night. The player with the highest score wins. So, yeah, as you expected, just catch as many candy as possible, and that's all you have to do. So, you can actually press the 2 buttons and able to jump if you wanted to. But, again, because of my depth perception's gone a little bit more out of hand most of the time though, because sometimes that I swear I was trying to able to grab as many candies as far as I could, but sometimes again my depth perception's got a little bit more, well, not too much great though. But anyways, as far as this minigame applies, when it gets to daytime you can able to grab as many candies as you want, but when it gets to nighttime everything else is turned into a pumpkin. Was this like a Halloween time or something? Oh, great. If you get a power cookie if you manage to use the power cookie on this one though, I'm assuming you can able to actually get additional more points. So, even though that can easily cheat at the actual, like, the minigame itself though, which I probably won't able to use that though, because even though, as far as I've heard, that is incredibly broken, sometimes. So, yeah, that's what I can say about Super Mario Party, although it still retains exactly the same information as how it does it from last time, and also they did show us a little bit of more footage in the forms of Mario Fun, but this time they actually now added in the online functionality of the game, which I'm very, very excited about that. Although it's a shame because of that, it's when it gets to like the September the 19th of sometime during next Wednesday. This is what the Nintendo Switch online services is about to begin. And I'm not looking forward to that, honestly, because even then, because you have to able to pay a lot of money if you want to able to play the games online, which is a shame, but even then, that's something's worth bringing up. And, yeah, that's all I can say about Super Mario Party, so even then, I'm still looking forward to that title, so, yeah. The only thing I'm most likely concerned of, or in this case, my only worry about that game, is the fact that they did not show enough boards as I was hoping it would be. But even then, though, it does do all the minigames though, right? Which it might be still the most highlight of the game so far anyway, because it looks so very unique altogether because of the actual usage of the Joy-Cons all by itself. But even then, we'll get more into that as soon as the actual final game comes out. So even then, And plus, we're gonna do that Let's Play until that at some point next year. So, anyways, though, of course, we already played this minigame 3 times at this point. Seriously, we're gonna see a lot of repeat minigames like this. So, hopefully, we can able to come across into new ones exponentially, though. So yeah, that's all I can say about that game. So, and the next thing they did showcase off is the forms of. I'm not gonna discuss upon any kinds of games I was interested of. But it's just sometimes there gets like a whole lot of compilations and all that stuff. So, actually, before I get to this, however, though, I'm guessing that we might actually come across into a next new minigame. Okay, so this is definitely the new one. Gummy catapults. Fling the hammer and land toppings on the cake. The gauge decides the distance. Land toppings high on the cake for a higher score. So you just essentially just swing the Wii remote downwards until you're able to, well, what else? Swing your hammer. So that's all you have to do here. So yeah, the next thing they did actually showcase off when it comes to Nintendo Direct yesterday is the fact that finally we got some more footage of the forms of, like, you know how the fact that, I believe, Piglet already mentioned about this during the likes of during the past few days about the fact with the actual league, or in this case for this matter, Mickey Mouse has already mentioned about this in Sonic and the Secret Rings redo Let's Play, and I did not mean to waste my power cookie, but that's alright, because I managed to claim my domination of the victoriness, or victorious. So anyways though, yeah, it turns out that the new Yoshi game was actually, with the real name of the title was actually true, because it's now going to call it Yoshi's Crafted World. Now I will say though, I'm really happy that this has now finally been showcased after a year and 3 months ago. Jeez, that's bloody well take a long time. Even way more, well, it's not so longer compared to how it does it in Yoshi's Woolly World, but comes close. It does feel come close. But anyways, as you can see, Clyde once again managed to get himself bankrupted with cookies, so hopefully he'll able to go back up with the cookies amount, so. But yeah, no sign of the forms of the release date just yet though, but as far as I've heard, it's gonna be releasing until sometime in next year in spring, which could be something more likely like March, April, or May. It all depends though, really, but even then, I'm really looking forward to Yoshi's Crafted Worlds because the visuals do look absolutely gorgeous, especially now that that game is going to be made for not only for Nintendo in good feel, but it's also the first ever Nintendo game to be developed by Unreal Engine 4, which is very awesome, and I'm really looking forward to that, which kind of does that in certain Kingdom Hearts compilations, including Kingdom Hearts 3 after that, so very awesome though.